Some time back, I made a video where I broke down the factors that affect mobile development costs. At the end of it, I mentioned hidden costs that can add anywhere between 5 to 10% to the total bill. One of them was maintenance cost. And in this video, I would like to explain just what goes into maintaining an app. At the end, I also share how startups and businesses can save on maintenance costs without sacrificing quality. So make sure you stay till the end to get the tips. It's important for you to know what app maintenance involves to really understand how the cost-saving tips work. Baby step. I just want to say that my agency has been in the app business for the past 5 years, and we don't just build apps, we maintain them for clients as well. I do this for a living, so the numbers that I'll be giving are not from some textbooks. This is the reality of mobile app development today. I guess what I'm really trying to say here is, trust me. There are two types of maintenance costs, fixed and variable. Let's start with the easy and straightforward one, fixed cost. There are predictable costs that no matter what, you have to pay every month or year, starting with the App Store fees. Apple and Google charge a fee for your app to be in their app stores. Google charges a one-off lifetime fee of $25, but greedy old Apple wants $99 every year. But we still pay. After app stores, we have third-party service fees. Your app is really just a big ball of data, and all this data will need lots of help from external services to function. You'll need to store the data somewhere, a server to host your app, and a catchy domain name, just to list a few. And I'm sure it's no surprise to you that there are multiple service providers for every type of third-party services. The best option to use today may not be the same best option in 6 months when your app has tripled in users, but more on that later. For a typical app, these are the most common third-party services you need and how much they cost per month. Hosting a server, $25. File storage, $5. Server logging, $7. Domain name, $2. Error monitoring, $15. Transactional email, $20. Push notifications, $15. Here's something clients say to me all the time.
But Adrian, I found a service provider and they're $3 cheaper than your suggestion.
Then they look at me all angry.
You were going to waste my money.
How I always reply, that's amazing. Thank you for helping out. If you find an even better deal, let me know. There are so many service providers out there and they're so similar that for most developers, the hours we spend hunting down a better provider is often going to cost you more. So just for the essential, you're looking at about $100 per month. Keep in mind though, these are starting prices. When your app starts to grow, more features, more users, more simultaneous users, you will start to use these services more heavily and the price will go up. But wait, there's more. Depending on the features of your app or how you want to communicate with users, you may need to subscribe to a few more additional services. Here they are. If you need to make data transfers instantaneous, like with instant messaging, your app will need real-time technology, which starts from around $49 per month. And there's more. If you want to trigger SMS or include Google Maps in your app, these two services are pay per use. And it's really hard to predict this without looking at your app. It's about $8 for every 1,000 SMSs. For Maps, it depends on what kind of service you want to use. With the most basic option, after your app uses up its monthly free credit, Google will charge $4 every 2,000 times someone loads up the map. SMS, $8 per 1,000 sent. Maps API, $4 per 2,000 map loads. If you need these services, I would estimate monthly app maintenance get pushed up to around $160 per month. You're probably still thinking, meh, is that all? Because it's not. Next, we have regular app updates. When you check out an app on Google Play, you'll see it at the end of the About the App section. For Apple App Stores, you can see it under the What's New section. Your developer will be constantly making improvements to your app. Most of the time, this is what we'll be doing. Number 1, error monitoring. Number 2, bug troubleshooting. Number 3, auditing and updating based on changes to the app's tech stack. In simple English, the programming languages and frameworks that developers use to build an app, these gets updated by their developers from time to time. That can involve what we call a breaking change, where a change in one piece of a tech stack causes other parts of the stack that relies on the previous version to fail. We need to identify and make necessary changes to these connections to make sure an app runs smoothly. If we don't, you will start to see problems. bugs will start to appear. Maybe pages load really slow, then they'll just stop loading. Eventually, your app will no longer be supported and it will just crash randomly. But what about your users? Don't worry, they've uninstalled your app weeks ago. We keep your app up to date with whatever changes take place so that your users will always enjoy a consistent or improved UX. For this, before I tell you the cost, I think what we'll do is show you some calming B-roll to put you in a relaxed state. Editor, can you play some nice nature footage? Anything with running water is good. Are you calm and ready now? Okay, expect to pay about 1,000 to 2,000 USD per month. Most people tend to react the same way when they hear this, and that reaction is something like, "It's a scam!" Look, your developer will be clocking anywhere from 40 to 80 hours a month just to keep your app updated. That's up to 20 hours a week of an essential and very technical service. When you factor in all the above, you are looking at anything from 1,120 to 2,150 USD per month, every month, forever. Even child support isn't this bad. At least you stop paying once your child grows up. With apps, not only do you never stop paying, the bigger your baby grows, the more you need to pay. But you love your app, and you can't put a price on love. Next up, we have variable costs. These are unpredictable in the sense that there's no fixed schedule for them. But if you step back and look at your expenses over the course of, say, a year, you understand that within every 12-month cycle, you definitely have to pay for these. So better have some cash ready. Variable cost includes new features. Every once in a while, there will be a major update. Maybe enough users have expressed an interest in an extra feature and it's a big one, like say GPS tracking. Actually, that's a really extreme example. Let me think of something more realistic. While my past self tries to think of a better example, would you please be so kind as to subscribe to my channel? If you subscribe, I'll name my firstborn child after you, even if your username makes no sense. Alright, back to the video. Maybe enough users have requested a different payment gateway. Not just one, maybe like 2 or 3. If it makes them happy and it makes you money, do it. But first, you gotta pay for it. For any month that involves lots of major changes or major updates or new features, expect to pay about 5 to 10,000. Quick editor, show them another waterfall. Changing service providers. I mentioned that there are a ton of service providers. Once your app is established, you'll start to focus on the nitty-gritty to squeeze out the maximum value from every dollar you spend. Here's a hypothetical example. If I switch from server A to server B, the base price will be higher, but any additional server processing is relatively cheaper. And looking at how many new users we're getting per month, we ultimately spend less. Then I take out a calculator and basically go tick, 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 and it looks like we start enjoying savings from the 3rd month onwards. When your app is a day old, these kinds of discussions are a waste of time. But once you're established, not having these discussions is potentially a waste of money. Speaking of which, even the cost of regular app updates can eventually get to a point where it's cheaper for you to hire your own in-house developer instead of using an external agency. Plus, you get all the benefits that come with keeping it in the family. If your developer is honest, they'll tell you that. How much does it cost to make all these switches? I can't say. It's a variable cost for a reason. This is something that has to be tailored for each app. For obvious reasons, if cost is the reason for switching, it must be cheaper than your current service provider. And of course, once you make the switch, the new monthly and annual charges will become your new fixed cost. How to reduce maintenance cost? There's actually a really easy way to reduce your app maintenance cost to 0. That is, by going out of business. Okay, bad joke, but there's a lesson in it. If you want to have a proper app, you cannot run away from maintenance cost. When my agency advises founders on how to cut maintenance costs, we all agree on one thing. There's a level of quality users expect, and we never go below that. That being said, this is how we recommend founders cut costs. Number 1, utilize freemium version whenever possible. Very often, the jump from a free tier to the cheapest paid plan isn't just a few dollars. So we're talking about the difference between spending nothing and spending quite a bit depending on services. Number 2, check for free credits and discounts. If you have to make the jump from free to paid, check whether the platform offers free trials or credits for startups. Many of them do, and your developer will normally have a few favorite ones on standby. Number 3, look for better providers and setup. Like I said, as you grow, other service providers become a more viable option because they cater to bigger businesses. But it's not just the choice of hosting and email providers. It's also how you set up the flow of data throughout your tech stack. This is a separate area of expertise called DevOps. It's a field of study dedicated to improving the efficiency of systems and how it processes information. The more components get added to your app's technology stack, the more important it becomes to make sure the connections are done efficiently across different connection points. I'll be the first to admit I don't specialize in this. Unless you're running a multi-million-dollar company, it's not worth it to hire a dedicated DevOps personnel. What we do here at Upstack Studio is engage a reputable external DevOps consultant to provide us with a plan, and we execute based on that. Number 4, build new features based on real feedback. Nothing sucks more than building a feature your customers will love, and then it turns out they will never use it, or worse, they hate it. The more features you have in your app, the higher the maintenance cost will be because there are more to maintain. Because of that, always keep the bare minimum needed. Make sure there's enough demand to make it worth the cost before adding new features, because remember what I said, $5,000 to $10,000 per month. Number 5, don't save on update cost. When a developer wants to update to a new version and integration or fix breaking changes, let them do it. Seriously. Unless you flat out cannot afford it, let them do it. Saving the money now will cost you 2 to 5 times more down the road when a developer needs to update anyway. Only now, it's everything all at once, and it takes so much more time to update the system and fix breaking changes everywhere. Your users will also hate the app because by this point, it will be running really slowly or be full of bugs. By letting the developers do regular updates, you pay less, users don't get a compromised app, your developers isn't stressed out from a chaotic schedule, and the necessary work always gets done on time. I mean it. Let us update your app. All in all, for your average app, fixed cost will be about 5 to 10% of the app development cost. Except obviously, maintenance is forever. For variable cost, I don't want to scare you, and it depends on the app. But during periods focusing on actively building and improving the app beyond MVP, installing new features, acting on user feedback, updating based on industry changes, you could be looking at least 5 to 10,000 per month. It's a lot of work, but come on, your developer has a team to feed. Their team members have kids to feed. So if you think about it, when you ask for a discount, what you're really asking for is, dear developers, can you please stop feeding your kids? I'm joking. If you've never developed an app before, that figure might be surprising, but it's like owning a car. All those moving parts need to be serviced. And well, developers got it, and we only eat the finest food, so we charge accordingly.
Nice.
So where do you go from here? Well, I think you would find this video on minimum livable product very useful. It's an approach to building the simplest product that not only works but gets people excited to use. Because remember, when we cut costs, we don't want to go below that level of quality user expects. I think MLP is a good guide to the level needed, and you can find the video here. See you there!